So again, we've got adverse effects, we've got lack of efficacy in animals. This is a very long quote, but it's from a paper. It's what they're discovering now, what the community is realizing is failure for animal data to translate is leading to questions about the validity of the animal models. Are we now, do we really think that the animal model we have is good for us? And more people are actually questioning that, which is great. For the DHT, that's great. Other people are questioning it, it's working well for us. So what do we fund? And I'm very conscious of time. So what do we as the DHT fund? What are the work that we fund? They have to advance science. It's not just, oh, well, I really don't want to use animals, so can I do some research? No, you've got to advance science. It's got to be relevant to humans. And it must replace the use of living animals in current procedures. And it goes back to what my friend over there said about published papers. No one, and again, this is a very poor example, but it's one everyone, it's not poor, it's not a recent example, but it's one everyone understands, smoking. No one tests smoking in dogs anymore. Lots of people talk about smoking in beagle dogs. We don't do that anymore. So if someone comes to us and says, hey, I've got a great bit of research that replaces the use of smoking in dogs, no one does that test anymore. It is a replacement, yes, because if someone were to test smoking in dogs, then they could use this instead. But there is no real research, so it's got to be current. So this goes back to what I said. You've got to look at the literature. What is currently going on? You have friends in the industry. You have friends in the university. You know what's going on down the corridor. So it's replacing those. So we fund everything from PhDs up to postdocs for up to 3 years. We also fund for those of you that have kids that are at university. We do 8-week summer studentships or 12-week summer fellowships. We also offer strategic grants, like I say, the 5-year one we've got in Dundee. We also offer additional support, so for the academics that are out there, conference attendance, sponsorship of conferences. If you know of a big science conference that you think would be good for us to be at, we will come and we will do sponsorship as well. We pay publication costs. So if you have some research, we also give out lots of general help and advice. Yeah, there is a lot of what we call hidden animal use in science. Yeah, where animals have been used, antibodies are the big thing. Where antibodies have been used. We give out a lot of help and advice on how to move away from all that hidden animal use as well. So it's not just about the soft, fluffy animals that you're experimenting with, it's all the hidden animal use as well. We give out a lot of advice on that. So, what are replacements? I'll come to the main point of my talk now. What are replacements? It's not like for like. It's not, I'm going to take this mouse and replace it with something. Yeah, it's very difficult to do. There are a whole load of reasons why they use a mouse. But we talk about the toolbox. We talk about doing all of these different things. And by doing a combination of all these things, you will create the virtual human. You will create the replacement to the animals. You'll create all the tools and techniques that will replace the animal experiment. And most importantly, it's the one at the top, it's changing the mindset. It's saying you don't have to do animal experiments, you can do all these other things. And it's not that you can do one of these things and replace animal experiments, you might do several, but one of the hot topics at the moment is organ on a chip. Yeah, it's been in the news a lot, organ on a chip. It's doing miniature humans on a chip. Yeah, it's doing miniature hearts, miniature lungs, miniature livers. There's a whole load of them. That's a big thing at the moment. Doing computer studies. Computers have got very good at doing what they do. Yeah, so doing lots of computer studies with the chemistry stuff. Can we do a computer study to screen out all these chemicals because we know by their properties that they're just not going to work in humans. Yeah? Rather than having to create them and then possibly testing them. Can we do that on a computer? Omics technologies, genomics, proteomics, metabolomics. Omics is a big thing. Yeah, you take anything with omics in it. Imaging technologies, brain studies, population studies, going back to what we talked about earlier, doing things in humans. Yeah? Clinical trials, obviously, is a big thing. And a whole load of other stuff. We funded research into lots and lots of different diseases.
As the awareness is increasing, what kind of receptivity is with the larger kind of companies? Is there a time issue? That's why they're preferring maybe the animal testing, or? Yeah.
There's several. One of them, if it comes from the government, they will change. That's the fact. If the regulations change, they change. Like with the cosmetics regulation, the banning of cosmetics, just to let you know, because everyone talks about that. It took 20 years to go from we want to ban the use of animals for cosmetics testing to actually banning cosmetics testing. 20 years. Government is the big driver. If the government says you can't do it, they won't do it. The other one is cost and then time, because they don't, no company, no pharmacy, no industry is going to stop what they're doing because that'll stop them making money to do non-animal. So it's got to work hand in hand. So there is a time element to it as well. But again, one of the things, we get a lot of phone calls from people that say, I don't want to work in this place because they have an animal facility, or I don't want to work here because I might have to get involved indirectly with some animal studies. And they go, do you know of somewhere where they do no animal work? And I'm putting it out there, at this point in time, there are very few universities, there's probably only one at undergraduate level that doesn't have an animal facility. There are very few organisations that will take on, that will do no non-animal work. So it's very hard. So what we say, what we advise is, take the job. Because it's hard for me to come to, let's pick a company. No, let's not pick a company. Let's not. I'm being recorded, let's not. It's very hard for me to go to a big company, let's pick, no. It's very hard for me to go to an organisation and say, don't use animals. Here's a whole load of things you could do instead. Because they're going to say, who are you to tell us what to do? But if you work for them and you say, is there a better way of doing this without animals? I know of this technique that doesn't use animals. All of a sudden they're going to go, hey, this is one of our guys. You're not going to do it for the detriment of the organisation. So for anyone out there that's thinking about not moving into a place which, because they do animals, I don't want to work there, please do go. Please stick to your ethics. Don't do the animal experiments, but please stick to your ethics and say, can I get into a place and then change them from the inside? It's always better. It's harder for us from the outside because we've got to knock on the door and they just don't open the door. Yeah, but if you're already inside, you can open the doors for us and we'll come in. But there is a time thing as well. It does take time to change and move things over. There is also a generational thing. My university professor has built his career on animal studies. It's very hard for me as the new PhD student or the new postdoctoral member to go in and say, no, let's forget you, let's go and do non-animal stuff. Yeah, it's very difficult. So like I said, we funded lots and lots of diseases. We are not, yes?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
what I wanted to ask you was, if someone's given a choice between an animal experiment way of doing things and a replacement, is it not true that sometimes, or more often than not, the animal experiment way is cheaper and that's also an incentive not to go for the risk?
It can be. It depends what, unfortunately the science is too broad to narrow that answer down. There are definitely ways, if you have to design a whole new facility, for example, imaging. Imaging is a good one because it is very expensive. Brain imaging, yeah? We've all seen the images of the brain, the CT scans, the MRIs, all of that sort of stuff. Now, if you don't have access to that facility, if you need to develop that facility so that you don't have to do invasive brain probes on animals, the machine itself costs £10 million. Plus all the infrastructure, plus all the ongoing costs. So yes, if you have to set something up fresh, it is going to be very, very expensive. But if you're going to do a pre-screen trial of some chemicals, could you do a computer simulation of that? That's probably going to be a lot cheaper than trying to do a pre-screen, even in cell culture or an animal study or something like that. So it depends on what it is and what they want to do, and how keen they are to not do the animal stuff. So one of the things the DHT is we're not disease specific. It's not like we're cancer focused, or we're Alzheimer's focused, or we're leukemia focused, or anything like that. We will fund research everywhere and anywhere. Wherever there's a need to replace the animals, we will fund it. Yeah? So this is our current research projects. Yeah? I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about each one in detail, but as you can see, we've got diabetes, we've got one about chronic pain, which a lot of people suffer with, kidney disease, medical devices, wound healing, toxin. See, we cover the broad range. We're based up near Luton, in Hitchin, near Luton, but we don't restrict ourselves to just that. This is just a map of, you don't need to read all of this, we can send this out to you. This is just a map of where we fund our research. We don't limit ourselves to a particular area, a particular university. We're not affiliated with anyone. We go all the way up to Scotland, in Dundee, all the way down here to Plymouth, which is one of our current projects. So this is what we've funded over the last few years. Yeah? The reason that they asked me to show this is because it looks nice, because this one looks a little bit barer. This is our current project. Yeah? But the reason why, there's a reason why it's a little bit barer. But see, look, we've got projects all the way in Belfast, we've got a couple in Nottingham, in the Midlands, in London. So we're everywhere and anywhere. Wherever someone will take our money, we'll give it to them. Yeah? And then this is a very bad map that I did in Google Earth of our summer studentships. So again, it's not, we do summer studentships and summer fellowships everywhere, all the way from Aberdeen to Abertay. We'd never spoken to anyone at Abertay before. And all of a sudden, just out of the blue, we got this application from them. Went, yeah, great, take some money. Yeah? And then all the way down to Birmingham and all the normal places as well. But we also, with the summer studentships and summer fellowships, we do industries as well. We do companies. So we've got a couple of companies near us, not at purpose, but we've got one called Kerogen and one called CM Bio. So we're quite open to working with industry as well. Our big projects are usually university based, but some of the smaller things we can do, some of the pilot studies we do, again we can do with, we're quite happy to work with companies. Because they want to develop a product that they can sell. If they can do that without using animals, that's great. Okay. So just very quickly, and I'm massively aware that I'm overrunning, some of our success stories. So we've done a huge number of projects in neurological disorders. We've been at the forefront of developing some of these techniques, and some of you might be thinking, hang on, but MRI, that's been around for years. But using it in a hospital to diagnose you with when you smacked your head is very different to using it diagnostically in medical research. Yeah, so we've done a lot of work developing MRI as a tool. MEG, magnetoencephalography, it's the best word in the world. Yeah, it's called MEG, they're MEG studies, but that's looking for the magnetic activity in your brain. Yeah? Now if you think about it, we're surrounded by magnetic fields all the time. The setup of this machine is phenomenal, but it measures the magnetic activity of a few thousand neurons in your brain. It's unbelievable what they can do with it.